guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing and discussing Scarlet by Marissa Meyer. This book was so good. I love this series. This is the second book in the Lunar Chronicle series. Winter comes out this upcoming winter, later on in this year. I am so excited for it. I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I read it in like 2 days and I did not want to put it down. I've really loved the characters. Just like in Cinder, I thought that the characters in the fairy tale adaptations were spot on. They were just phenomenally done. I loved the way that she made Red Riding Hood a modern and even futuristic story. It was great. I loved how she tied in all of the different nuances from the original story into this one. I loved reading it and trying to pick them out and seeing them being like, that is so freaking clever. I'm about to go into some spoilers and I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who have not read this book yet. So if you haven't read Scarlet, you should. You should go read it like now. Okay, so we're gonna go for some spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So like I was saying, I really loved all of the different Red Riding Hood references. At Scarlet, the main character wore a red hoodie all the freaking time and always pulled her hood up. I mean, I was like, that is such a clever adaptation of the cape. Her grandmother is kidnapped by this lunar organization that we don't really know too much about until the very end. I loved that it was the big bad wolves that came and took her grandma. They are these genetically altered and genetically mutated lunars. I love that she was still taken by the big bad wolf. That was so clever and just perfectly done. The character Wolf, I didn't know if I should trust him. I didn't know if he could be trusted. They make it seem like he left the pack months or years prior, when it only had been like 3 weeks. And he didn't even leave them. He was on a mission and he was just lying to Scarlet. I was starting to fully trust him at a point. I was really starting to believe that he was involved in her grandmother's kidnapping it all. And then they lied to me. They have that master who can control them and influence them, and he sent him out on that mission. And while he was gone, it seemed like that master's control and power was kind of dissipating a little bit, and Wolf was starting to be able to think for himself. And I was genuinely confused. Wait a minute. Is Wolf on our side? Is he on their side? Wait, is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? What? I had to read that passage twice because I didn't like process the information the first time. I was like, wait a minute. He is a bad guy? Like, I've been tricked this whole book? She played that off really well. Basically just made me feel like an idiot for ever believing that I could trust him. Despite all that, I still like Wolf. I don't know why. I have a thing for bad boys. I like them. I'm drawn to them. I find them very intriguing, especially when it's a bad boy who is kind of still a softie on the inside, who wants to tame his, not tame, because I don't want them tame, but who wants to reconcile with their wicked ways. So I was drawn, obviously, to Wolf. And then I was kind of shocked. Once we found out that he was genuinely a bad guy. Scarlet, why are we still trusting him? He has lied to you. Why are we trusting him? Why are we saving his life? What? That whole like thing that happens with her and Wolf on the train, they kind of like glance over what really happened. So we're kind of left to just assume things. She keeps referencing that she sees this like good guy and this, but I didn't think that she should have like went back to him so easily. They, you know, pull him on the ship at the end of the book, and then they were like instantly all okay and buddies. I don't know about that. Ooh, I was also really shocked to find out that Ron was his actual brother. I had mentioned in my Cinder review that I pictured Levana's army to be kind of like mutant gorillas. Well, mutant wolves are still pretty accurate, right? Reading her lunar people that are excelling at certain aptitude tests, like she's like experimenting on them and making them more animalistic and more militaristic. She's doing some freaky things. Marissa Meyer wrote Wolf to be very like, I almost kind of thought he was a werewolf or like a vampire because he had super senses, super speed. He could hear and smell things that a normal average human couldn't. She tried to make him as close to that wolf character as she could while still making him a human. Very clever, very cool. I also thought it was really funny that he had never had a tomato before. I mean, I understand if you never had a tomato because you don't like tomatoes or a little wary of tomatoes, but he had never seen one. He holds up the carrots. He's like, what are these? And she's like, it's a carrot. He's like, what's the carrot? What are they feeding these people? Like, why don't they know what vegetables are? I really like Captain Thorne. I thought that was really funny that Cinder accidentally ended up in the wrong, or she ended up in a cell that was occupied by another prisoner, and he was like, well, I'm coming with you. I thought he was really funny and witty and had that sarcastic humor that I'm just so very fond of. I know that he plays into a romance in Cress, with Cress, and so I'm really interested to see how that's gonna work out because they're floating in space right now. Cinder mentions at the end of the book that she's going to go try, she's going to try to enhance her lunar gift and make it stronger, and then she's going to go after the Queen's programmer and try to figure out the Queen's, that means that Cress will have a really important role if she's going to betray her queen like that. Is Cress a lunar? I thought it was really cool too to find out that Cinder's a lunar and royalty, and then we find out that Scarlet is part lunar too, ironically. People, these people who thought that they were humans for so long, and it's like they're all turning out to be lunars. So will Cress be a lunar too? That would make sense, right? And then Winter is that stepdaughter thing that she mutilated her face of. So she's probably a lunar too, which would make sense because it's called the Lunar Chronicles. I also really liked that we had a whole new storyline with Scarlet, but we didn't abandon Cinder. We still heard from Cinder's point of view. We still heard what Cinder was doing. And I was actually more interested in Scarlet's story than I was in Cinder's story, ironically, because I just was really curious to see how the two are going to meet. Because obviously they had to come together somehow. And I was really wanted to know what Michelle Benoit's, is that how you pronounce her last name? I'm just going to go with it. Was connected to Cinder. Dang. I really liked that connection. I thought it was really, really cool. We found out that she was a pilot at the time that Princess Celine was taken off of Luna, and she actually carted her to Earth, and she was housing the operation rooms for her cyborg transformation. I love how their paths intertwined and connected. Aiko as a spaceship, she was hysterical as a spaceship. She was so funny. She was just like, I feel so huge. I like Aiko as a spaceship. She's a funny spaceship, and I wish why wouldn't you want your spaceship to talk to you, right? I was like, no! When Kai accepted Levana's marriage proposal, Kai, you're walking into a trap, and you're walking into, like, he knows that she's gonna just dispose of him once they get married, and she's gonna take over the Commonwealth, and then she's gonna take over Earth, and she's gonna take over the universe. I'm really curious to see how that will all play out. I have to say though, I'm still really curious as to why Levana wants to be the Queen of the Commonwealth so badly. Why the Commonwealth over any other country in the Earthen Union? And I want to know how she can control lunars and humans, and how her bioelectricity her magic is so much more powerful than any other lunar's magic. I'm still really curious to know about that whole bloodline thing. So I think that's all I really have to say about this book. I know that I kind of just did a lot of rambling. I don't call these book rants for nothing, right? Let's discuss. Did you have some favorite things? Were there things you didn't like? What did you think about Wolf? Or did you find him to be trustworthy? I still like him, even though was kind of a really unworthy guy to be liked. I think that's all I have to say for today. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will talk to you guys soon. Bye! So I guess the rambling was just in full effect today. And she adapted? What? Right. It's all about the sound. And the fairy tale declined.